Welcome to our fantasy league. We're going to look at the results of game week 11 and the fixtures of game week 12.
Yeah, let's take a look at this.
Welcome, everybody, and we're going into game week 12 of the Serie A. I will go over our fantasy teams now. This weekend, we're very excited. There's also the Derby della Madonnina in Milano. Myself and Elaine will be going to the San Siro on Sunday morning, having a tour of the team's change rooms and just San Siro in general to see how it's preparing for the Derby. So we'll get you guys footage from that. And we've also been given tickets as well. So we'll get you guys footage from the game. Besides that, Elaine, let's go over our top game week purchases and let's dive into our teams.
Yeah, top game week purchases across the board sort of look like people have been looking at my team specifically. Singo, cheap option, clean sheets and assists. He's one to add. Simeone has magically found the goal-scoring magic wand and has banged in about 10 of them in 3 games. Vlahovic, if he can really add set pieces to his repertoire, he's got over 20 goals in him a season. Pellegrini, probably the only light spark in Roma at the moment. And Zapata seems to have knocked or got rid of those injury knocks that he got early on in the season and is starting to perform really well. So all of these top game week purchases make a lot of sense this week.
Yeah, and then top week sales, I would say Koulibaly, Osimhen, Hernandez, and Destro all going to be out from various injuries and red cards. Chiesa is out, which is actually the top week sale, and I think this is largely due to form, which is really interesting. So we'll see how he performs against Verona, which Verona is always a tricky game. But actually, they're not playing against Verona, they're playing Fiorentina, so that's also going to be very tricky. Looking at the team, so I think this is by far the team that we've seen the most like a one-sided team. There's 3 Inter players here. We can see that no big surprises. The best player of the week was Vlahovic, scoring that hat-trick. So I had him as a captain, so that did really well for me. Correa netting 2. I was at the San Siro for that. But yeah, overall, bit of a diverse team here.
Yeah, finally, the Torino defense doing me good. Bremer grabbing the goal, Singo grabbing an assist, or maybe the other way around, I think. And finally, keeping a clean sheet in the process, so getting points. Inter, scrappy win, but for fantasy football, it's all you really need, not conceding a goal and getting 2 goals late on. Di Silvestri, surprisingly, has been on lists consistently. I'd say that him and Criscito are so far the fullbacks of the season in this fantasy league.
Yeah, and also Venezia bringing in Romero, which has been a great boost to the team. I watched the game last week. He played really well, so that was really cool. Okay, in the league. So last weekend, there was just so many points got by some strikers. The league's changed quite dramatically. If we look, there's actually a new leader. Let's have a look quickly. So we have Team Juve of Salim leading with 646. That's a huge gap from second place. I think this is the biggest gap we've had since we started this tournament. Second, we have the Avengers Rossoneri. And, well, tied in second, we have 3 players. We have Rayan Quasi of our 3-ban. And then we have Abdullah holding up from one of our let's say, our OGs that have always been in the top 3 fighting there. So he's there as well with Snorky that's running up in, let's say, 3rd place, which is actually 5th. But things are getting heated up at the top there. And it just shows
it's amazing how quickly things can change. Like Andre Del Fio was top for 3 weeks in a row. And in 2 games, he's dropped down to 10th place.
Yeah, and he's quite a way away. So really good there. So guys, keep on fighting. You never know if a week will change your team's position. I moved up on the list. I'm actually at the top of the second list. My goal is to break into that the first page. We'll see how that goes at 581. As I mentioned, Vlahovic was my saving grace. I did not do very well last week, actually. And Elaine, I think you have moved into the 3rd page. Yep, there you are there. TPT Elaine, 510, doing solid result, getting you into that 3rd page. Now we just need to see you climb up.
Yeah, I think I've got like 130 points from the top spot. So it's not completely out of reach, but I do need to start getting those wheels turning. Otherwise, I will get left in the dust.
Yeah. So my team going into the week, I did a few changes. So I have Reina against Salernitana. I think that's the most solid bet instead of Chesney against Fiorentina. At the back, I was just made decisions here because I have Theo Hernandez out injured, and I needed to do a sale of Osimhen because of his injury. So I have Di Lorenzo, Calabria, and Karsdorp. Di Lorenzo against Verona, Karsdorp against Venezia, Calabria against Inter, so it's a bit rough. My midfield, there's some tough games there. There's Milinkovic-Savic against Salernitana, João Pedro, Atalanta, Candreva, Bologna, Aramau, against Roma, which I really like him. I was meant to sell him to upgrade, but then with Osimhen's injury, I upgraded to Dzeko. So I normally don't like adding players that play against Milan on the weekend, but Dzeko has scored a lot of points, and I think I'm just going to get Dzeko for the time being. So I have Dzeko, Vlahovic, Arnautovic. I don't see many goals coming from these three because the games like Vlahovic might score, Dzeko might score, but I don't see them scoring more than 2, if that. So hopefully Arnautovic. So this might be a tough week for me, to be honest.
Yeah, it does seem like a tough week just because all the players that you would expect to get you points are playing big teams. I think the only exceptions really being the Lazio boys and Karsdorp. But with Roma's poor run of form at the moment, it pretty much only looks like you've got the Lazio boys with easy games here.
Yeah, so fun times. So let's have a look at your team.
Okay, so coming over to my team, I've made a couple of changes this week. I've gone ahead and made an extra purchase. So I've penalized myself with those 4 points. I've gone ahead and kept Silvestri in goals against Sassuolo. May or may not work. Once again, I've gone ahead and kept the 2 Torino defenders. I think that coming off a clean sheet, they're going to be quite solid up against Spezia. I do have the option of bringing in Di Lorenzo. I'm still considering it, but I don't know for who at this point. I went and dropped João Pedro because of his game against Atalanta. And I've gone ahead and kept 2 Roma midfielders in Zaniolo and Pellegrini, Candreva, as did Damien. And then when I saw that Dybala is actually classified a midfielder, I couldn't really help myself, and I went and I made that purchase. If he does start clicking, he is a striker in a glorified midfield position, so he should be offering a lot of points. I've gone for that gamble. At the same time, obviously not going to be able to keep the same sort of power or spending power in attack. So for the time being, I've gone ahead and dropped Osimhen with the injury and everything. And I brought in a player that I think shows a lot of promise and has been really exciting so far this tournament, being Beto from Udinese. A lot of good things coming out of the player. Scored a couple of goals, got a couple of assists. And as far as a low-cost option goes, that's where I'm going to go bank my odds.
Yeah, that's good. I had Dybala as well in the beginning of the season, and he got me nothing. But he is starting to click, so that is definitely a good thing to do. I would also probably look at that moving forward. But yeah, it looks like a good team. I don't know. I have my doubts on Zaniolo starting, to be honest, from what I read today. But yeah, it's worth it. The fact that he's playing Venezia is a positive thing. Venezia can either just be locked down in defense, and if they try push, I think that's going to give you guys a little.
Yeah, I think with the poor run of form of Mkhitaryan at the moment, and little glimpses of light that we saw in the Conference League game last night, I wouldn't be surprised if Zaniolo finds himself in a more central position for the game against Venezia, with Carles Perez and El Shaarawy flanking him on either side, which could be quite interesting, actually.
Carles Perez definitely looks the most informed with El Shaarawy there, to be honest. Yeah, so that's good. Well, there you guys have it. Those are our teams going into match day 12. Remember, everyone, this is for $100 Amazon gift card.
Yep. So if you haven't already, remember, go select your captains. Vitally important. As I learned last week, choose your vice captains carefully. It matters. And if you haven't liked and subscribed our channel already, please go ahead and do so. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and we really do appreciate everybody that takes the time to click our videos. So we'll see you next time on the Ping Table.